Hello everyone, this is Helios Raven. I tell you how you do it, even if you don't care.
Let the galaxy burn for the War Master!
And if that video intro didn't give it away, yes, I have found out about the 2010 Compendium. Now, for those who aren't aware, on most of my videos on the in-depth look at the different ships for Battlefleet Gothic, I've been getting a lot of questions in the comment section asking me if I knew about the 2010 Compendium, because some of my information was incorrect when compared to the Compendium itself. I was not sure what they were talking about, and when I did some research and I came to the conclusion that was some sort of like FAQ or something. So I went to the specialist site, and there was no added information on the site there, and I was really perplexed. And then after doing a quick Google search again, I stumbled upon the Warseer site and found out about what this whole compendium is. It's this collection of, how we say, FAQs and updated rulebooks that a bunch of GW authorized writers put together and submitted to Games Workshop to be posted on the specialist site as an official errata for the Battlefleet Gothic. And I just started reading into it. They did a new book for the Powers of Chaos, Tau, Orcs, Craftworld Eldar, the Adeptus Mechanicum, the Inquisition, the Space Marines, a new battle section, and a Compendium FAQ, which was updated rules set from beginning of the book to advanced rules, and FAQs on all the different armies that they did not, to clarify, and for those that didn't really get the updates for them. And all in all, I'm pretty excited about it. I can't really say much for Phil because he gave up, he quit playing Battlefleet Gothic just recently. And so that's a shame there. I don't know what I was hoping to get his opinion on this stuff as well. But thankfully he gave me all of his Battlefleet Gothic stuff, which was nice of him. And Starklord on the Fearless Games channel started getting an interest in it, so I just gave him all the Tau stuff, all the Tau and everything else that Phil had. So, I mean, because what am I going to do with it? So I figure give it to Starklord, so then I have another person to play to make up for the fact that Phil doesn't play anymore. So, so it's great, you know, now Starklord's getting right into it when these new fresh rules are out, and so we can learn all the new stuff together, which is cool. It'll just be like old times when I first learned the game. And so let's get into the bulk of it. To answer the first major question, I have not read it in detail. I've skimmed through each of the PDFs, and all in all, I want to go over the one thing that's bugging me a little bit is I'm not a big fan of torpedo ordnance rules now. Specifically the marker placements. The fact that you no longer put, if a servo is stronger than stronger than 3, you only put down a 3-piece servo and put a D6 behind it to represent the extra torpedoes. I don't like that. Mainly because I think it's going to cause more confusion, especially if you're like me and roll dice in the middle of the field. You're going to start questioning, you know, is that die a counter, or what's the deal with that D6 there? And also, it kind of reduces some strategies for more of the ordnance-heavy fleets, where they used to make lines of torpedo waves and just push them forward, so a ship has to go through them in order to get to them. So now it made it easier to maneuver around torpedoes, and I'm not really a big fan of that. But that's my own personal opinion. And I'm not liking the whole no longer running out of ordnance on rolls of doubles. Granted, yes, it made more sense. It makes more sense in the fact that, you know, if you build an army that has nothing but ordnance, you kind of lose out if they start running out. I understand that point, but I think they're making it a little bit more. I think that's what added a little bit of extra fun to the text of the game. But again, you know, I have to really play with it before I can really see how I feel about it. But in all, that wasn't really too appealing to me. So now let's get to what I really liked about it. One is the presentation of these books. They look professionally done. They look like they actually came from a real book, even down to the image of what the page counter is in. They actually went and did the traditional Battlefleet Gothic one, and they did the page layouts the same, and they basically did it all very nice and professional. I mean, now, here's a good example. Here's a picture of the Adeptus Mechanicum rules when they first released. Now, here's that same page, but from the Compendium. Now, see, they actually made it look a lot more professional, and it really shows that they are taking this serious, and they want Games Workshop to take this seriously. And I really like that, because it ups the chances of the Compendium getting approved by Games Workshop, which will kind of push Battlefleet Gothic up to date, and possibly get more people back into the game. And I like that. I like the fact that that there are other people out there who, like me, want to keep Battlefleet alive and not get pushed to the wayside by games like Firestorm Armada or Dystopian Wars, which, to me, when looking into it, I found Dystopian Wars more interesting than Firestorm Armada, and in all, I think Battlefleet Gothic is better than Firestorm Armada, but that's just my own 2 cents on that one. So I'm really liking the fact that there are more people out there really trying to keep Battlefleet Gothic alive, and that's what made me happy. Another thing that made me happy is they finished the Powers of Chaos. This was an article where they were supposed to give a customized ship for the Death Guard, Thousand Sons, the World Eaters, and the Emperor's Children. But they only wrote the Death Guard article, and they never completed it. And now they did. They gave those excuse me. They now gave those other legions a customizable ship, and they gave the Black Legion its own personalized ship, which is really awesome. They revamped the Blackstone Fortress to give the Super Mega Death Shot, as they put it. Basically, the shot that Abaddon used when he combined 2 of them together to annihilate everything in its path, and do massive amounts of destruction, and it has its, normal, regular warp cannon charge. Another thing I like about that is in the FAQ, it outright says, the Blackstone Fortress Warp Cannon which ignores shields, and any other mechanic that does so as well, i.e. any other gun or weapon in the game that says it ignores shields, also ignores holofields, spore clouds, and reactive armor. I like that for the sheer fact that it just makes the Necrons just as vulnerable to the super mega death rays as the other forces, and doesn't make them immune to every super thing, making them like the gods of the game. Which made me a little bit happy, because the Blackstone Fortresses were supposed to be built to fight the Necrons. So why wouldn't its ultimate weapon not affect them? So I like the fact that they basically clarified, yes, reactive armor is ignored, just like holofields, just like the spore clouds, and just like shields. That made me happy. It's the little things. And it also makes the Armageddon gun more powerful and live up to its name. Like, one of the other things they added was they made the Armageddon gun able to use its planet-killing version of the Armageddon gun in the game. And it ignores shields. Anything it touches, it outright destroys. And it would make no sense if the Necrons got their save against that, because it's a planet-killing blast, and you need to tell me that they can their ships that are smaller than a planet are capable of surviving a shot the planet can? The thing now has the rules for destroying moons when the beam touches them. That's just awesome. It makes so much more levels. It gives you a grander scale of what kind of power the Armageddon gun has, and it shows you exactly what the Armageddon gun is doing to a planet. And I like how they made it where the Armageddon gun now has to be within 60 centimeters of the low orbit table edge, instead of just has to be on the low orbit edge to win the game. I like that a lot too, and I like the fact that the Super Mega Planet Killer shot, for if they want to use it in game terms, needs 3 turns to charge, and the fact that it ups its shield by 2 just because of all the energy that's radiating out from the ship. I think that was really cool as well. What else did I enjoy in the new revamp? I like the fact that Inquisition now has its own army, which, I always thought, well, they kind of indicate that the Grey Knights have their own ships, but they have no rules for it. Now they do. and I really like that a lot. I like that they went and tried to, alter the rules a bit to kind of balance out some of the forces, because some forces seemed a little bit overpowered compared to others. And I kind of like how they kind of tried to balance out some of the stuff. I just like the fact that they did it, because it shows that there's still people out there that cares. I'm gonna rant on that again, I'm sorry. I also like the, let's see, what else do I recall that I liked in there? I like how strike cruisers are now customizable. Mainly because when they were first introduced, they said, the strike cruiser is not a specific cruiser, it's actually just a class of cruisers. They could be different weapon configurations depending on their chapters, and some are even all secret and such. But they never gave you indications of different types of strike cruisers. They just went, oh yeah, there. And they really didn't even give you rules to make that. Now, in the new book, they give you options you can do to alter the strike cruiser to make customizable strike cruisers, which I love. I love that fact. It gets more into the fluff, and it gets more into what I think Games Workshop was going for, but just at that point just didn't want to do it anymore and just wanted to get something out there to sell more models. And I think this will actually sell more models now, because people who originally didn't like the strike cruiser now can make the strike cruiser work for them, which I think is really awesome. Anything else that was generally in it? I haven't really gotten a chance to really look at it, like I said, in full detail. But once, I'm going to print out the sheets, I'm going to look over it with Stark-Lord, and then on Fearless Games, I'm going to actually make new how-to videos on how to play the game, incorporating the new Compendium. Because since it's officially written by Games Workshop guys, I'm going to count it as official, so I'm probably going to go using that from here on in. And I have to see what Stark-Lord says. If Stark-Lord won't do it, that's a whole different kettle of fish. The doing in-depth looks at the ships again with the Compendium in mind, I unfortunately will not be doing. Mainly because I don't think I'm really that good at comparing these ships at all. Mainly because I don't see things as well as other guys, because my strategy my strategy planning is terrible. It's garbage. Most of my good, awesome strategy tactics just come from luck and just a quick, brief moment of inspiration. I'm not in all that stuff. But what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get James to do an in-depth look on the Fearless Game channel. That way you guys can get an in-depth look without an in-depth look of the ships as well, with the new Compendium in mind. So, I'll put a link to Fearless Games so you can see when I get that all set up and running, especially since that's where I'm going to do all my battle reports for Battlefleet Gothic now. I'm also going to put a link in the description to where you can get the Compendium, because, like I said, it's not official yet. It's been submitted to Games Workshop for approval to be put on the specialist site. But I guess they figured they wanted, either way they're going to put it up for those who want to use it. And it's in the Google Documents. I'm going to put a link in the description. You go to that link, and you can download all the rules for the new Compendium. I also like that Fortress Monasteries are in it. I thought that was really cool. And granted, yeah, they just said, oh, just use the Ramesses Starforge for it. I do like the fact that they are aware that, there's probably not going to be new models, so they did what they could to craft their own ships. I like some of the new entries in the Tau and sheet. I like some of the new ships. I like how they incorporated the Forge World Tau. I like how they gave Kroot their own fleet. I thought that was really cool, and some of the extra stuff. And Rogue Trader, I totally forgot Rogue Trader has their own armies. But they didn't really do much with Rogue Trader, at least not what I've read so far, so I'm not sure how big that's going to be. And so yeah, all in all, really excited, really happy to see something new and fresh coming from some sort of GW officiality that's for BFG, and hopefully with the combined efforts of this and maybe my videos and other people's videos on Battlefleet Gothic, the game will get a new second wind, and maybe I'll see more people at my local hobby store playing the game. And so that's all for now. Until next time, guys, this is Helios Raven, signing off.